Okay, so it seems like we got this conversation again in the kind of gacha community, this time specifically with Wuthering Waves, which I think is a first we've seen this kind of stuff happen. I mean, it's happened quite a lot in the Genshin stuff, so this isn't obviously my first time covering something similar to this, but essentially, yeah, recently people have been talking about the fact that Jennifer English, one of the voice actors for Wuthering Waves for Carlotta, recently won an award, I'm pretty sure, and she was giving out an acceptance speech at the Golden Joysticks. And obviously, yeah, a lot of people were enjoying it. And then it followed with this quote tweet here saying, a reminder that Carlotta is voiced by an award-winning queer woman. Which obviously, yeah, I mean, that's what they put up. And they put a little clip of a cutscene, obviously from the whole Carlotta stuff that we went through, right? And, well, this has also been followed up by people over on the Gacha Girl community, who sometimes can be a little bit odd, I'm going to be honest, and a lot of them have been getting exposed recently with the new Twitter update, which I thought was kind of hilarious, because it turns out most of them live in like Bangladesh and India, which was pretty interesting, right? But they say, Jennifer English is not Carlotta Montelli, she is the English VA of Carlotta. She is neither based on Carlotta's design nor story, they are separate entities, get your facts straight. Now, I think that there's multiple things to kind of unpack here. Now, I do think they are partially right with what they're saying here in terms of the fact that the voice actor is not the character, which a lot of people do need to remember. That is a big issue that goes on within the gacha space, not just Wuthering Waves, but any other gacha game as well, right? People try to attribute their opinions, their, beliefs, their sexuality or whatever, right, to that character, when in actual fact, it's a made-up character made by a video game studio who have other ideas than the voice actor themselves. The voice actor purely just provides their voice, and that is 100% true, right? But I think one thing where they do kind of miss the ball here, this person, is the fact that essentially they kind of read the tweet wrong. Obviously, they're saying Jennifer English is not Carlotta Montelli, she is the English voice actor of Carlotta, which, again, they never said that Carlotta was, queer or anything in any way. They just said she's voiced by an award-winning queer woman, which is true, right? It is true, and that's what they said. And again, there is nothing really wrong with that statement. It seems like this person is obviously using it to kind of get a rise, I guess, out of this kind of community or whatever, because again, I feel like, although they are true in the fact that, there is an issue with this person in particular isn't saying this, right? They're just pointing out a fact about the voice actor itself. Obviously, lots of people as well responded to this saying, so confused in your point, the original post is just saying that she's voiced by Jennifer English. Is that incorrect? And they said the OP is simply implying something like this. So I tried to fix the misunderstanding in advance, but guess what? And yeah, obviously, this is what they mean. Essentially, I kind of see this. Obviously, a lot of people do posts like this saying it's voiced by an award-winning crewman. But again, I don't think they were trying to necessarily farm people to say that Carlotta was that. But I think they were obviously trying to farm people to, obviously talking about queer people and stuff in the community, quite a bit, right? Which, again, I don't think there's any problem with that at all. And, they put here saying this is what happened. Essentially, there's other people quote retweeting this with like lesbian flags and things like that, which obviously feels like a little bit of deja vu since the whole Robin situation, if you guys remember that, over on Honkai Star Rail, which again was pretty insane, right? And they say, I mean, the English dub is good, but why you would use that when you could use Rin Tosaka's VA as Carlotta? 100% true, so much better, but they say for me, English VA is better. Obviously, some people saying, so let's just forget that it's the player that propped the wuwa game, the men that support it, plus the VA isn't their character, Lamau. When will they learn that if we follow that logic, wouldn't that mean the VA of Carlotta, JPKR, and CN are Carlotta too? Which, yeah, obviously someone said, bro, is just saying anything at this point, and I can understand, the kind of reluctance to see people attributing certain sexualities, certain beliefs, certain opinions and stuff onto a character. I can 100% see why people would be annoyed with a post like this in particular, right? This one post that has quoted this tweet, but I think going after the tweet in particular isn't like the end of the world. I feel like, if you get really, really offended by that, then, I think you kind of need to go outside a little bit. But I do think that, yes, obviously, some people trying to force down your throat that a character is lesbian or bisexual or something, when the game itself doesn't explicitly state that, then, yeah, I can understand why people aren't too happy and why people don't want to believe that. and yeah, why they are actively fighting against people trying to push that down people's throats, because again, the game doesn't say it, so obviously, you know, it's not it's not kind of canon, right? But again, if the game and Kuro Games was to go out and make some kind of storyline where Carlotta was, you know, lesbian or something like that, then sure, you know, then sure, people can post about that all they want, right? But the fact is, they don't. It's a Chinese game. I doubt they ever will. But again, I don't know. They say, no, the devs or Carlotta herself never stated that she's bi in the first place. This is not a Western game where the devs force their agenda. It's a Chinese gacha game. Woke in this game does not exist. Which, again, I can kind of understand, but at the same time, you know, I don't know. I think that some people, you know, are allowed to think whatever they want. They can think up their own headcanons and things and whatever in terms of the story. I think that's fine. But obviously, there's people like this trying to make like an objective statement here saying like, I mean, she's still bi just because of like some random screenshots that they found. You know, it's a magazine by the looks of things. That doesn't mean someone's bisexual for reading a magazine. I think that's pretty clear, but obviously some people want to kind of, you know, make it that way. Obviously some people say, what are you saying, bro? Just hating. Which again, obviously, I think that, yes, it does seem like they are very kind of pressed by the original tweet for kind of no reason. And obviously they just keep on bringing up these 2 tweets that come up with it, which I do think is a little bit disingenuous too, because, you know, they've only showed 2 tweets. That's the only thing that they show in response to this is 2 people talking about it and attributing it to that, which again, I do think these 2 people, you know, are pretty weird in, you know, kind of associating it with the character itself, right? But at the same time, it is only 2 people and not like 500 people that are doing it, which I think is also something that people, you know, don't really understand, is sometimes it can get blown way out of proportion and it can get pretty insane, right? But at the end of the day, I do think there is a problem with, you know, people obviously attributing their own beliefs and their own sexualities and stuff to characters which aren't explicitly stated in the story. And, you know, I think the Kuro Games have obviously made them the way that they are specifically, right? But, you know, some people, you know, I guess want to push it down people's throats for whatever reason that may be, because again, they believe that, and again, as I said, you are free to believe that in your own kind of space or whatever, and kind of think that yourself. But I think, yeah, trying to say that someone is objectively this or objectively that in a video game, when the video game character has been, you know, pretty explicitly stated as, you know, whatever they are, right, in the game itself, by the developers, by the creator of Wuthering Waves, Kuro Games, right. I think that obviously people trying to, try to like find little screenshots and find little voice lines or find little cutscenes or find little whatevers, right, about a character and trying to say, oh, that's because that. Obviously, it's them, we're just going into a little bit of like kind of nitpicking, like kind of like small, like detail kind of area, which just doesn't make any sense. And as I said, if, you know, Kuro Games wanted a character to be specifically whatever, specifically be something, then obviously they would explicitly state that within the story or within any other kind of aspect of details, right? But again, they just don't. So again, I do think it's weird that, you know, that people do that, but at the same time, I do think this person is a little bit crazy for kind of responding to this and getting so pressed over the fact of them calling Jennifer English, saying, a reminder that Carlotta is voiced by an award-winning queer woman, which is correct. You know, they are correct with that. There's nothing incorrect with that. They're just getting angry because they think it implies something, which I think is pretty insane. But yeah, I mean, that is essentially all there is to this situation. I thought it was a pretty interesting one, as a lot of people have been arguing about this over on Twitter lately. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.